Commander Zixthor's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among the Krell. The insectoid alien towered over the two humans in the cargo bay of the captured freighter, his forearms gesturing dismissively at the blade strapped to Elena's hip. "Primitive," he chittered, his translator rendering the word with dripping condescension. "You humans cling to your ancient weapons like hatchlings to their birthing sacs. That sword of yours, what good is it here in the void between stars?" Elena said nothing. She stood perfectly still, her dark eyes fixed on the Krell commander while her hand rested casually near her weapon. Beside her, Adam shifted his weight, his jaw tight. They'd been captured 3 hours ago when the Krell intercepted their supply run to the human colony on Proximus 6. The aliens had seized their ship, disabled their comms, and locked them in the cargo bay with 15 Krell soldiers standing guard. "Your species fascinates us," Zixthor continued, circling them like a predator. "You have no natural armor, no claws, no venom, yet somehow you spread across the stars like a plague. Tell me, how does a species so soft, so fragile survive?" Adam finally spoke, his voice steady despite the plasma rifles trained on them. "We adapt." The commander's laugh was a harsh screech. "Adapt? You mean you steal technology from superior races and pretend it makes you equal?" He gestured toward the airlock. "Out there in vacuum, your soft bodies would freeze and burst. Your blood would boil. Your lungs would collapse. You are nothing without your machines." Elena's lips curved into the slightest smile. "Is that what you think?" Zixthor leaned closer, his multifaceted eyes glittering. "I know it, human. And that primitive blade you carry? Useless. In vacuum, there is no sound for your swing, no air resistance to guide your strike. You would die before you could even draw it." "Want to test that theory?" Elena asked softly. The cargo bay fell silent. Even the Krell soldiers seemed to tense, their weapons raised higher. Adam's eyes widened slightly, but he kept his expression neutral. He knew that look on Elena's face, had seen it before on a dozen battlefields across a dozen worlds. She was done talking. Zixthor's mandibles spread wide. "You challenge me? Very well, human. But we do this my way." He gestured to his soldiers. "Seal the inner doors. Depressurize the bay. Let's see how well you adapt when your lungs are screaming for air that isn't there." "Commander," one of the Krell soldiers began, but Zixthor silenced him with a sharp gesture. "Do it," warning klaxons blared. Red lights flooded the bay as the environmental systems began their shutdown sequence. Adam grabbed Elena's arm, his voice urgent. "Ale, what are you doing?" She met his eyes, and something in her gaze made him release her. "Trust," it said. "Just trust me." The Krell soldiers retreated behind the sealed blast doors, their commander among them, watching through the reinforced viewport. The atmospheric pressure gauge on the wall began dropping rapidly. 30 seconds to vacuum, 25. Elena closed her eyes, her breathing slowing to a deliberate rhythm. Adam recognized it. The meditation pattern every human soldier learned in basic training, the one that seemed like mysticism until you understood the science behind it. Controlled breathing, reduced oxygen consumption, mental preparation for extreme conditions. 15 seconds. She opened her eyes and walked toward the outer airlock door. Her hand moved to the manual release. "She's insane," Zixthor chittered behind the viewport. The moment that door opens, Elena pulled the release lever. The outer airlock exploded open. Hurricane winds screamed as the remaining atmosphere rushed out into space. Adam braced himself against a cargo container, his lungs already burning. Through the chaos, he saw Elena standing at the threshold of the airlock, her hair whipping around her face, her coat billowing, and she was smiling. She stepped out into the void. Zixthor's screech of triumph died in his throat. Behind the viewport, every Krell soldier stood frozen, watching the impossible. Elena floated in the vacuum, her body moving with impossible grace. No suit, no helmet, no breathing apparatus, just her. The sword at her hip and the cold infinity of space. Adam felt the pressure drop, crushing his chest, felt his vision beginning to tunnel, but he kept his eyes on her. He'd heard the stories. Every human had. Whispers from the outer colonies, reports from deep space encounters that the military tried to suppress. Humans were changing, evolving, adapting to the void in ways no one could fully explain. Some called it genetic drift. Others called it directed evolution. A few called it a miracle. Elena called it survival. She drew her sword. The blade caught the light of the distant star gleaming like captured fire. She moved through the vacuum with practiced precision, each motion a demonstration of control that should have been impossible. Her body had learned what no textbook could teach: how to survive in the killing cold of space, how to hold the precious oxygen in her blood, how to move without air to guide her. 30 seconds. That's how long an unprotected human could survive in vacuum. Everyone knew that. Elena had been out there for 45 seconds and counting. She turned back toward the viewport, her sword extended in a salute. Her smile was fierce, triumphant. Behind the blast door, Zixthor stepped backward, his mandibles trembling. "Impossible," he whispered. "No species can—" "We told you," Adam rasped, his consciousness fading as the last air left the bay. "Humans adapt." Elena sheathed her sword and kicked off from the hull, gliding back toward the airlock. She grabbed Adam's unconscious form and hauled him inside, slamming the emergency seal. Atmosphere flooded back into the chamber as she performed rapid chest compressions, forcing his lungs to remember how to breathe. Adam gasped, coughing violently. Above them, through the viewport, the Krell soldiers were in chaos. Zixthor stood motionless, his earlier confidence shattered. Elena looked up at him, her eyes cold. "You wanted to know how we survive?" She called out, her voice carrying through the restored comms. "We don't just adapt to our environment, Commander. We adapt to yours." She stood, drawing her sword one more time. "Now, you were saying something about this being useless?" The blast door unlocked with a hiss. The Krell commander had made his choice. He was retreating.